Hey, college wrestling fans, it's Johnny Thompson, number one. And today we're going to bring back a guest we had on here not too long ago, the Swayze, Aaron Swayze, one of the biggest college wrestling fans in all of NCAA, NAIA, NJCAA. You name it, if it's college wrestling, this guy probably watches it, probably knows a lot about it. Well, on our last episode, we talked about the top schools in the NAIA that we wanted to see add wrestling that currently don't have wrestling programs. And today, we are each going to do 5 schools in the National Junior College Athletic Association that we feel would be great fits for a men and women's wrestling program. So, counting down, I'm going to start out, and my number 5 pick is Wabash Valley and Mount Carmel, Illinois. Now, surprisingly enough, Illinois does have a pretty good scene for college wrestling, but a lot of the National Junior College Athletic Association programs in Illinois do not have wrestling. We have some good ones, Triton, Harper, those are 2 really good ones. But some of the schools don't have it. Now, the reason why I think that Wabash Valley would be such a great pick, Mount Carmel has been producing phenomenal high school talent for years. Let's talk about the Williams brothers, Steve and Joe and TJ. And, this year, one of the top recruits in the entire nation, Seth Mendoza, is from Mount Carmel. So I'm thinking that if you put the nearby junior college and you give them both men and women's wrestling, I think would be a huge hit in the state of Illinois, especially in the Chicago area. So Wabash Valley is my number 5 pick.
I like that a lot. Having coached in the NJCAA from 2000, the 2007-8 year to the 2009-10, there used to be more programs, which I know, unfortunately, you've done in your gone lost forgotten many programs all over divisions, but yeah, I like that one a lot. For my number 5 pick, I'm gonna get way down yonder, and by that, if you know your country music, way down yonder in the Chattahoochee Valley Community College in Phoenix, Phenix City, Alabama. Let me tell you a reason why I like this. The South needs to rise again in terms of wrestling programs. And for wrestling programs, I like where it is in location to 4-year programs. I think it's good to have a feeder. And if you are kind of in the middle of it, the beauty about junior colleges is you don't necessarily have to do a lot of duels unless you're in conferences that say you've got to do this. There's a lot of wrestling teams, even out of JUCO, that don't have to abide by dueling. And so it opens it up for opens, tournaments, and stuff. But here's why I like Chattahoochee Valley Community College. It is less than a mile away from the city of Columbus, Georgia. So it's right over the river, or right over the border from Columbus, Georgia. The college is also only 59 miles away from the nearest JUCO in Andrew College, Georgia, in terms of one that already has wrestling. So that could build up a little rivalry there. It is also 80 miles from Montgomery, Alabama, where D3 Huntington is. It is 146 miles from Montevallo, where D2 Montevallo is. And it's 120 miles from NAIA powerhouse Life University. You've got so many good things happening in the vicinity, and I think it would just highlight even more in the South. So Chattahoochee Valley Community College is my number 5.
And for those of you out there that are big JT1Wrestle fans, I did an interview that was posted on July 3rd with Ron Stubbe, who coached at Chattahoochee Valley from 1977 to 1979, and also a great, you go back and watch that episode, learn all about the history of pirate wrestling. But another thing, and I don't know whether the Swayze knows this or not, Chattahoochee Valley, 2-time conference champion, WWE Tag Team Champion, WWE Intercontinental Champion Marty Jannetty.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
I
177 pounds. Yep.
back then he was a rocker as well.
That's right, man. That's right. And once again, that episode was posted back on Thursday, July 3rd. So do go back, and if you want more information on Chattahoochee Valley wrestling history, go back and watch that episode. My number four pick, I'm going to go down south as well. I'm going to go with Miami-Dade. Down in the Miami area. At one time, Miami-Dade had a very respectable program in the NJCAA. I come across wrestlers, you can read my writing, and I'll write about wrestlers from Florida all the time. A lot of people down in that Miami area and D1, D2, D3, NAIA, it's an area that has produced very good high school wrestling for a long time. We're not talking Pennsylvania, and I'm not trying to pretend like we are, but we're talking some kids that are good that go on and qualify. Some of them make All-American. That area is hurting very, very bad for a collegiate program. And overall, there are 28 programs, 28 National Junior College Athletic Association programs in the state of Florida. Not a single one has wrestling yet. Not one. And I really think we need to start somewhere, and I can't think of a better place to start than Miami-Dade.
Yeah, and there's some great people down there in terms of connections with the wrestling community. We were talking a little bit about pro wrestler Marty Jannetty. You go down that way. Jerry Briscoe, legend who wrestled at Oklahoma State. Um, he lives in that area. And so actually he might live in Tampa, but I know he's in Florida and I know he's a big voice down there. Jack Spates, former head coach at the University of Oklahoma, lives in Florida. There's a lot of movers and shakers down there and a lot of people that would I'm sure love to see a junior college option as well. And with a lot of success of individuals that have come through, uh, folks that may not know, Minto, kid from Nebraska that just lit it up as a freshman this year. His brother is an assistant coach in the Iowa community college ranks. And they're both from Florida. So a lot to be said around there. Also, Omi Acosta, he's a guy that very familiar with the Florida scene as well. So anyway, let's hop. You kind of said something that kind of perked me up because next we're going to Pennsylvania, and this one might throw people off when I say the name. Butler County Community College in Butler, Pennsylvania. Here's why I say that. I went to Butler County Community College, as what it was named, in Kansas. Very powerful team in football, women's soccer, a lot of that. It has since changed to Butler Community College. They are the Grizzlies, okay? Grizzlies in Kansas. Butler County Community College in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is 33 miles north of Pittsburgh. They're the Tornadoes. I don't know very many Grizzlies that are in Kansas, and I definitely don't hear too much about tornadoes in Pennsylvania, but maybe they did a trade agreement or something. But here's why I like Butler County Community College in Butler, PA. It is 33 miles north of the center of Pittsburgh. It's 85 miles south of Edinboro. So you got D1 schools on both sides of you. It's a short jaunt to many great Eastern Ohio communities like Youngstown, Akron, and Cleveland. And there's plenty of competition in the vicinity in terms of tournaments and four-year schools. And I just think they'd be tough really quick. And especially with, big cities like Pittsburgh and Cleveland not far away. If they needed to get on a flight and go somewhere and see more competition, probably relatively inexpensive. So BC3, Butler County Community College of Butler, Pennsylvania is my number four.
I like that pick a lot. And that area is rich in all levels of wrestling. Well, with the exception of NIA, right? You got D1, D2, D3. So I think that'd be a great pick. And I think the state of Pennsylvania itself could use some more junior college programs, because like we discussed in the NAIA one, not everybody is ready for the 4 year commitment right away. Some kids want to go to the 2 year college first, or just the 2 year college period. And I think that would give them a really, really great opportunity to do so. So, my number three pick is going to be Dallas College of Richland. Okay. At one time, Richland had a very competitive NJCAA program. Matter of fact, when you look at the history of college wrestling in the state of Texas, Richland was not only the best at the NJCAA level, they were one of the best, period. Like they were beating D1 teams, they were beating other programs around. A very competitive program. They won multiple duels, multiple tournaments. Most of their competition was against 4 year schools, and they were around at the varsity level for 11 years. They were cut due to travel cost. Okay, that's what happened. And I want to elaborate on it just a little bit. This is where wrestling would have to step up and stop getting in our own way. If a college like Richland were to reinstate their wrestling program at the varsity level, we can't have people saying that's too far away for us to duel. That's too far away for us to go down. We're going to have to dig into our pockets and figure out a way, maybe even to meet somewhere. Like, I don't know if that would be possible or not. I've always kind of wondered, like, what if you had a college that's in a really remote area like Richland is? Would it be possible for another college with a wrestling program to open up their doors and say, my God, that's a 778-mile drive for them to go down to Richland to duel? But if they met at our school, each school could drive 300 miles. I always wonder, would that be possible? Is that something we could possibly do? I don't know. Another reason why I like the Richland pick, and the reason why it's my number three, is because there are 50, count them, 50 NJCAA schools in the state of Texas. And think about it. If we could just get half of them, 25 of those schools, we could do in Texas what they do in California. In California, you have the California Community College Athletic Association. They have their own tournament. They duel each other. They have their own little national, you can't really call it a national, but you know what I mean. They have their own tournament at the end of the year. We could do that in Texas. And I think if we're going to build wrestling in Texas, yes, we have Wayland Baptist and we have Texas Wesleyan, we have Shriner, we have Jarvis Christian. We're getting Tarleton State, which everybody's excited about, including me. But if you really want to see college wrestling grow in the state of Texas, I think really focusing and building at the NJCAA level is the way to go.
Yeah, with that pick too, you talk about the 50 or so JUCOs in Texas, even more concentrated, the Dallas college system. There are, I believe it's seven or eight, and they're like called Dallas College and then enter your city. So Dallas College, Richland. I love that pick also because their mascot might be one of the
Yeah,
best mascots out
yeah.
there. They're the Thunder
Underdog.
Ducks. It just sounds like something like Darkwing Duck, like
Yeah,
animated classics. Oh,
yeah.
I wouldn't mess with the Thunder Duck. I mean, it'd probably be rough. So, great pick. Well, let's move on. I've hit the southeast. I've hit the northeast. It's time to come to my neck of the woods here in the central area. And what better than Central Community College out of Columbus, Nebraska. Now, this is roughly an hour north of where I am in York, Nebraska, kind of in the middle of the state, hence central. But there's so many darn good kids in the area and phenomenal individuals that I think could just step in and coach there. Personally, if I were to start a program there, I know who I would hire right away, and it would be former Division II multi-time All-American Adam Kieswetter, known as the Twister, probably the best match I've seen in person, and it was at the 2005 D2s in Omaha. He wrestled Shane Perkey of Indianapolis and hit him in a twister. Perkey got out. Perkey took him down, got twisted again. It was 13-13 going into overtime.
Oh, wow.
where Perky got hit in a twister and pinned. Fantastic match. I know it's out there somewhere, but I think they would do really well. And the other thing is, I have worked with their athletic director because I also do volleyball announcing, which some people may not know. But Mary Young is their athletic director. She's also their head volleyball coach. And I've chit-chatted with her a bit. They don't have a lot of sports there right now. In fact, they have only three men's. It's basketball, soccer, and golf. On the women's side, it's basketball, soccer, softball, and volleyball. And then co-ed, they got esports and shotgun sports. But it's real interesting, especially without having baseball, which is getting pretty common around here. A few years ago, Nebraska Kearney dropped baseball. So the central team doesn't have baseball. That maybe if there was the premise of adding both a men's and women's program for wrestling and to increase, Columbus is a decent sized community too. So one of the bigger ones in the state of Nebraska. And I just think their location would be perfect. And it would also set up an opportunity to have an in-state rivalry with the young juggernaut that is very powerful, Southeast Community College. So Central Community College, Columbus, Nebraska is my pick for three.
I like that pick a lot. I had an interview here back on, it was posted on July 2nd with Coach Terry Pack of Southeast Community College. He and I talked about that too, wanting to see the NJCAA wrestling grow at that level in that area. So I really like that pick for that reason as well. My number two pick is going to be, I'm gonna cheat again. This is one of those cheat picks. I don't care where it's at. There are 15 NJCAA programs in the state of Mississippi. I want to see varsity wrestling in Mississippi really, really bad. And, you know, um, I just think the Magnolia State needs college wrestling. We finally got high school wrestling in there a couple of years back, and I think it's time to get college wrestling into there. And again, I think the NJCAA is a great place to start. So, quick and simple. I just want to see it in Mississippi. Any of the NJCAA schools there would make me very happy.
I do like that a lot. As someone who took a lot of chances on Arkansas when they were young, and they didn't have any programs, and they were building up high school wrestling. The other thing I think we got to remember is student athlete. We have
Yeah.
so many student athletes that can't get into the four-year school. And I hate to say it, there's always got to be a low liar. Mississippi is historically toward the bottom in terms of academics, uh, lower graduation rates, and maybe the escape out of different things, including poverty and stuff, might be, hey, a 2-year venture at a school that can maybe set you up for something like a trade, a skill, and then boom, you're done and you're making a good living. Love that pick for so many reasons. Um, Now get ready for a wild kind of we said thunder duck already. Well, this one is maybe a cluster duck. Okay, Community Christian College. I know you and I have had a weird little back and forth on this one. It's an intriguing one. So, Community Christian College is billed as having athletics out of Redlands, California. Okay. That makes it the only California JUCO in about 30 years because Lassen used to have it. That's an NJCAA school. Now, here's where it gets quirky. The college, though, is shown as being in Quartzsite, Arizona, which is roughly about, I think, 20 minutes away. Um, and it boasts that you could play football there with the NJCAA versus national teams rather than be stuck versus 3C2A, which is the California Junior College level. But every team they pretty much play in football and other sports is, here we go, more acronyms, the ACCAC, the Arizona Community College Athletic Conference, which, now follow me on this goose chase here, is basically all the JUCOs in Arizona that gave up on the NJCAA. So it gets wild, athletic wise, and created their own mischief. if those that are not familiar, the GWAC up in the Oregon, Washington, Idaho area, kind of doing their own thing. But the NJCAA website has the school listed as an NJCAA school, but it's weird. It's listed on the website as non-divisional for wrestling. They do have a wrestling coach, but they're non-divisional. I haven't seen them in an NCAA tournament. So you've already got a staff and you already got all these other sports, and other sports are listed as NJCAA members. What are we doing? So my little wild, wild west community Christian college out of says Redlands, California, but Courtside, Arizona. That's my number two pick of what the heck.
I tell you what, man, when I was growing up, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa, and he was both a Madlock fan and a Perry Mason fan. So you would think with all the Ben Madlock and the Perry Mason that I've watched over the years, I might be able to help you solve that mystery. But man, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I'm not sure what to make of that, but pretty interesting stuff. All right, so now it comes down to Johnny Thompson, number one's number one pick for where he would put NJCAA wrestling, men and women. And I'm going to be selfish here. I can admit that. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to go with Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. When we were talking NAIA, I said I wanted to put a wrestling program at Mount Mercy. Uh, Same reasons for Kirkwood. You're talking about a huge hotbed for wrestling in Cedar Rapids. You got nearby Iowa City, nearby Waterloo, Cedar Falls, Don Bosco. I could name you a bunch of great wrestling, high school wrestling in that area, all within an hour, hour and a half, maybe even only a half hour drive away. And like Aaron, the Swayze just got through saying here a couple of minutes ago, you have those kids that are not academically, and this is just something we have to be honest about. Not everybody is academically ready for a four-year school. And so when you give more opportunities of those junior college schools to either learn a trade or to get your grades up and then eventually transfer to another school, that's just going to help our sport out all the more. On a personal level, I'm a huge baseball guy too. I mean, I'm not as big in baseball as I am into wrestling, but during the spring, after the day of the last day of the wrestling in March, the very next day, I take off my wrestling hat and I put on my baseball hat the very next day. So I'm a huge Kirkwood baseball fan. Went to a lot of Kirkwood baseball games this year, and I want to drive up there more often. I want to go up there more often. And what's going to get me to go back to the campus more often? Men and women's wrestling. So I want to see the Eagles at a wrestling program. That's my number one pick.
Yeah, they're pretty salty when it comes to baseball. I know they average almost yearly in that range of anywhere from 38 to 44 wins. Um, I just happen to know the uh, since we're mentioning baseball, I want to give a quick JUCO shout out to Steve Murray at Neosho Community College, where I got my start in coaching, and he got honored by the NJCAA for having over 1,200 wins. He's been there since
Oh,
1986.
wow.
I mean, you
Awesome.
think of longevity at JUCOs for coaches, he's probably seen a ton of coaches come through. So I love that pick at Kirkwood, and it just seems right in a state like Iowa to have another JUCO option. All right, now this one, my number one. A few weeks ago, I say a few weeks ago, so we're recording this in late June, um, but it was on the 8th. June 8th, that I sent an email and we were kind of going back and forth about potential picks and all that. And my pick was Seward County Community College in Southwest Kansas. Lo and behold, about 48 hours ago, they said they're adding women's wrestling. And so I'm sitting here going, hell yeah, that's cool. And so I'm going to give you the spiel I already had written down from like about 2 weeks ago. And basically, liberal Kansas, here's why I like this. There's plenty of JUCOs in Kansas, and I know some people may say there's a saturation. I disagree with this one, and here's why. It's way south, way west. Not terrible in terms of driving to other JUCOs, though. So you'll have nearby opposition. Lamar in Colorado, 2 hours and 30. Trinidad State is right under 4 hours. 2.5 to Colby. Uh, 3 hours and 15 minutes to Fort Hays Tech Northwest, which is the artist formerly known as Northwest Tech, Northwest Kansas Tech. 2 hours and 8 minutes to Powerhouse Pratt. Also, within a 137-mile radius, which I know that's very specific. But I was doing like a cool little Google search thing. You have powerhouses in high school programs such as Ulysses, Dodge City, Garden City, Scott City, Leote, Pratt. That's just Kansas wise. Oklahoma, you got Guyman, Oklahoma. You got Dumas and Amarillo, Texas, La Junta, Colorado, Lamar, Colorado. And the athletic director has background in college coaching of wrestling. He was the head coach at Cloud County Community College in the north central part of the state. Went on to New Mexico Highlands University, where he was the head coach there before stepping aside from coaching. Became the an athletic director there. He's now down there in Liberal, Kansas, where the school is, and he is going to be actually the women's coach because they did announce for a women's program, and they're starting immediately. They are starting for the fall 25, 26. So we'll see how big of a roster he has. It might be a deal where basically you're redshirting this year and everybody's just going to opens. But pretty exciting stuff. And I've been way, way west and way, way south. It's out there, but I do think there's plenty of opportunity. And I want to say it's very poignant and it's a little emotional that wrestling returns to the dang Southwest in Kansas 30 years after Garden City Community College won it in 92, 93, and 95 before being dropped unceremoniously. And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is down in that vicinity. And I know you wrote about that in your Gone Lost and Forgotten blog. And I want to make sure people know that that's a great resource to not forget our past. And there were some hammers that came out of there. This is what the people of Southwest Kansas deserve, as well as that vicinity. It's a great opportunity for wrestling, and it's filling a void that is getting a little bit of a feel, and it might start other nearby places chirping to add.
I love that pick. You know, when we decided to do this episode, we both decided that five was a good number. And I tell you, it wasn't an easy five for me. I really had to sit down and like really be like, oh, this one or this one, this one, I guess. Garden City, if we would have done six, Garden City was number six for me. Um, that's a program. It's like Syracuse in D1. It's like Omaha, Nebraska in D2, or Montclair State in D3. It's like, how do you eliminate a program with such rich history? You know, I get kind of emotional about it too, and hell, you're a lot closer emotionally to it than I am. But yeah, I would love to see wrestling back in that area. Seward County would be a great addition, and my God, maybe if Seward County got up and started doing really well, Garden City would be like, we want back in the game. We want to do this again, and I'd love to see that as well. So again, another great pick, another great pick.
And before we go, you talk about just five, and I'm with you. It was extremely difficult because we honestly we'd love to see everybody at if it was feasible, if we knew it would be good for if we knew rosters would be filled.
Can you
Um,
can you can you imagine in like this is how you know we were both dead and we were both in heaven. It's like, hey, Stonebreaker, what's up, Swayze? I won the lottery. So did I. And then like
Oh
the
yeah.
very next the very next day, you're like, this school's adding, this school's adding, this school's adding, you know. But
Yeah.
for lack of a better term, you're right. You got to think about it in more realistic terms. But I agree with you 100%. We are kind of running out of time now. I do want to thank Aaron for once again being a part of this program today. It's been a lot of fun. For those of you out there watching the show, if there's some schools that we didn't think of, maybe you have some NJCAA schools you'd love to see wrestling at, let us know. Put it down in the comments. We're always more than happy to hear your opinions. And with that said, guys, on behalf of the Swayze, Aaron Swayze, this is JT number one, and we will see you guys again at another time.